Monkey.
Now, I was thinking about the Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford fight, and I was thinking, will Errol Spence Jr. age out Terrence Crawford? Because when I look at Terrence Crawford, it says that he's 35 years old. He'll turn 36 next year in September, so quite a while. Errol Spence is currently 32 years old, and I believe he turns 33 in March. Correct me if I'm wrong. So if that's the case, you suspect that Crawford will have some decline if the fight is to happen sometime next year because, you know, boxing, you can't go on forever. No one is like a Floyd Mayweather, or should I say, not everyone is like a Floyd Mayweather where they can fight at an extremely high level at a very old age. These training camps take a lot out of you. And Crawford now has had a load of fights, so you suspect every training camp he loses a part of himself. So it would be better for someone like Terrence Crawford if the fight is to happen as soon as possible. Maybe Terrence Crawford should defer to Errol Spence and Al Heyman and all of their demands. Because this might be Terrence Crawford's best opportunity of beating Errol Spence. The older he gets, the harder it will be for him to beat Errol Spence Jr. Because Crawford is now, closer to 40 than he is to 30, whereas Spence is still closer to 30 than he is to 40. So if I'm Terrence Crawford's manager, you know, I'm trying to put him in there with Errol Spence as soon as possible. I'm not trying to drag this fight out because the longer this fight takes to happen, the more it favors Errol Spence. Whereas the earlier the fight happens, I don't necessarily know if it favors Terrence Crawford, but Terrence Crawford has a better opportunity of beating Spence if the fight happens earlier. And that's why Terrence Crawford is in a very vulnerable opportunity because he wants to see an opportunity for him to make the most amount of money as possible. And apparently, some guys were willing to put up 50 million for the fight, pay the fighters 25 million each. I mean, let's just say that's true. Terrence Crawford would want to maximize the financial gain he could potentially get from an Errol Spence fight. But we all know that Al Heyman and PPC won't want anyone to touch this fight. And, that's why the fight couldn't really materialize because Al Heyman is not letting anyone touch the Spence versus Crawford fight. And this is not like heavyweights. We often see heavyweights, they can go to their very late 30s and 40s. But guys in the lighter weight classes, by the age of 34, 35, we start seeing, a decline in their ability. Not only their athletic ability, but they even look like they regress technically. They might gain ring savviness and so on and so forth, but generally by 34, 35, 36, you start to see fighters really, really decline. So the question is how long can Terrence Crawford keep fighting at the top level for? Because time is not in his favor, it's in Errol Spence's favor. And this is coming from someone who's neutral. I like both Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. I don't favor one over the other. These are two top guys in one of the best divisions in all of boxing. They deserve a lot of respect. Terrence Crawford has beaten many top guys as a welterweight, and Errol Spence as well has beaten many top guys as a welterweight, though Spence has only fought in one division in his entire career. So yeah, and some might even argue that dragging out the fight could also affect Spence because how long can Errol Spence Jr. stay at welterweight for? He's been at welterweight for his entire career. I actually believe that Errol Spence debuted as a 149 pounder. So Errol Spence's first professional fight was as a 149 pounder, and still to this day he is in the welterweight division where he makes 147 pounds. Errol Spence on fight night looks like he's about 170. So can Spence, even at 32, pushing 33, keep making the 147 pound limit, or is it becoming too hard? We'll also have to wait and see. Time will tell. Hopefully we do get the Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford fight, and hopefully we get it very soon. I don't want this fight to happen in 3-4 years from now. That would be awful. Crawford will be almost 40 years old, and even Spence will be in his mid to late 30s by that time. But yeah, for the meantime, Terrence Crawford is fighting David Avanesian, and Errol Spence looks set to fight Keith, one-time Thurman. Alright guys, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Thank you for 400 subscribers. Let's push to 500. Alright, peace.